Have you ever brought home a beautiful bouquet, placed it in a vase, and watched it slowly lose its charm after only a few days? The flowers looked perfect when you bought them. The petals were bright, the stems were strong, and the whole room instantly felt warmer. But then, almost before you had time to enjoy them, the leaves started turning yellow, the stems became soft, and the flowers began to droop. Many people think this is simply what happens with cut flowers. They believe that once flowers are removed from the plant, their beauty has a very short limit. But for generations, people used simple household tricks to help flowers stay fresh much longer. They did not have expensive flower preservatives, special sprays, or complicated solutions. They relied on basic knowledge, careful preparation, and ingredients that were already available at home. Today, we are going to look at one of these old-fashioned methods and several simple steps that can make a huge difference in how long your flowers stay fresh. Because the secret is not just what you put into the water. The real secret begins before the flowers even reach the vase. So if you love having fresh flowers at home, stay until the end, because these small details can completely change the way you care for your bouquets. The first mistake many people make is placing flowers into a vase immediately after bringing them home. It feels natural. You buy flowers, fill a vase with water, put them inside, and admire them. But fresh-cut flowers often need preparation first. When flowers are cut, their stems can become blocked with tiny air bubbles and damaged tissue. These blockages make it harder for the flower to absorb water. Even if there is plenty of water in the vase, the flower may slowly become dehydrated. This is why one of the oldest tricks begins with a simple step: trimming the stems correctly. Do not cut the stems straight across. Instead, cut them at an angle. A diagonal cut creates a larger surface area for absorbing water and prevents the stem from sitting flat against the bottom of the vase, where it can become blocked. Use a clean, sharp knife or scissors and remove about 1 or 2 centimeters from the bottom of each stem. For the best results, many experienced flower lovers recommend cutting stems underwater. This helps prevent air from entering the stem immediately after cutting. Another important detail is timing. Try to prepare flowers as soon as possible after bringing them home. The longer the stems stay dry, the faster they lose moisture. But trimming is only the beginning. The next step is something many people overlook: cleaning the stems. Before placing flowers into the vase, remove any leaves that will sit below the water line. Why is this important? Because leaves left underwater begin to break down. They create a perfect environment for bacteria to grow. The water becomes cloudy, unpleasant, and the flowers begin to age faster. Fresh water is one of the biggest secrets behind long-lasting flowers. Many people simply add more water when the level goes down, but this is not enough. Flower stems release natural substances into the water. Over time, bacteria multiply, and the water quality decreases. That dirty water eventually blocks the flower's ability to drink. A simple habit can make a big difference. Change the water regularly. Ideally, replace the water every 1 or 2 days. Each time you change it, rinse the vase. And check the stems. If the ends feel slippery, wash them gently and trim them again. This small routine can often extend the life of a bouquet by several extra days. Now let's talk about the old household trick that many people used before modern flower foods became common. One of the traditional methods involves creating a simple homemade flower solution. The idea behind it is to provide 3 things flowers need: clean water, a small amount of nourishment, and protection against bacteria. A common old recipe uses ingredients that many households already have. A small amount of sugar can provide energy for cut flowers because it acts as a food source. However, too much sugar can have the opposite effect. Excess sugar encourages bacterial growth, which damages flowers. That is why balance is important. Another traditional ingredient is a small amount of an acidic substance, such as lemon juice or vinegar. The purpose is not to add a strong smell or change the flower's appearance. The acidity helps create a water environment that can slow bacterial growth and support water absorption. The final part of many homemade solutions is keeping the amount very small. More is not better. A common mistake is thinking that adding extra ingredients will make flowers last twice as long. In reality, too much of anything can harm delicate flowers. The best flower care methods are gentle and consistent. But there is another secret that many people completely ignore. Where you place the vase matters just as much as what you put into the water. A bouquet sitting on a sunny windowsill may look beautiful, but direct sunlight can speed up aging. Cut flowers no longer have roots supplying water and nutrients like living plants do. Heat causes them to lose moisture faster. The same problem happens when flowers are placed near heaters, fireplaces, ovens, or appliances that produce warmth. A cooler location with indirect light is usually much better. Also, keep flowers away from fruit bowls. This may sound surprising, but ripe fruit releases natural gases that can speed up the aging process of many flowers. That is why a beautiful bouquet next to a bowl of apples or bananas may not last as long as expected. The room temperature, air quality, and even the location of the vase can quietly affect the life of your flowers. Another simple habit that experienced flower growers often use is checking the stems every day. Flowers do not suddenly become unhealthy overnight. They usually show small signs first. A slightly bent stem, softer petals, or water that becomes cloudy are early warnings. When you notice these signs quickly, you can often save the bouquet before it starts declining. Remove any flowers that are already damaged. One fading flower can affect the rest of the bouquet because decaying plant material encourages bacteria in the water. This is especially important with mixed bouquets where different types of flowers have different lifespans. Some flowers naturally last longer than others. A bouquet may contain flowers that are still beautiful while others are already beginning to fade. Taking a few minutes each day to remove old petals and clean the vase can make the entire arrangement look fresh for much longer. Now, let's talk about another old trick that many people still use today: keeping flowers cool at night. Before refrigerators became common household appliances, people often placed flowers in the coolest area of the home overnight. Why? Because lower temperatures slow down the natural aging process. Flowers continue to use energy after being cut. Warm conditions speed up this process, while cooler temperatures help preserve moisture and keep petals firm. Of course, flowers should not be exposed to freezing temperatures, cold drafts, or sudden temperature changes. The goal is simply to avoid unnecessary heat. This is one reason professional florists often keep flowers in cool environments before arranging them. Another forgotten detail is the type of vase you use. A beautiful vase is not always the best vase. A vase that is too narrow can squeeze stems together and reduce airflow. A vase that is dirty can introduce bacteria immediately. Before using a vase, wash it thoroughly. Even a small amount of leftover residue from a previous bouquet can affect fresh flowers. Glass vases are popular because they are easy to clean and allow you to see the water condition. But any clean container that gives the stems enough space can work. The height of the water also matters. Different flowers have different needs, but in general, the lower part of the stems should be submerged while keeping leaves above the water. Too little water allows stems to dry out. Too much water covering leaves creates a breeding ground for bacteria. Finding the right balance is simple once you understand what flowers need. Now let's look at some common mistakes that shorten the life of almost every bouquet. The first mistake is using old water. Some people think that because the water still looks clear, it is fine. But bacteria can begin growing before the water becomes visibly dirty. Fresh water is one of the easiest and most effective ways to help flowers last longer. The second mistake is placing flowers near electronics. Many modern devices produce heat, even if it is only a small amount. A vase sitting next to a warm lamp, television, or kitchen appliance may experience conditions that slowly weaken the flowers. The third mistake is ignoring the flower stems after the first day. Many people prepare the bouquet once and then forget about it. But flowers are living plant material. They need small adjustments over time. A quick water change, a small stem trim, and removing damaged leaves can add several days of beauty. There is also a simple technique used by many flower enthusiasts when arranging bouquets. Instead of placing all flowers at the same height, trim stems at different lengths. This improves airflow between flowers and prevents petals from becoming crowded. When flowers are packed too tightly together, moisture can become trapped, and some areas may begin to decay faster. A little space helps the bouquet breathe. Now, there is another interesting old-fashioned method that people used in the past. Choosing flowers carefully before buying them. The life of your bouquet often depends on the condition of the flowers when you purchase them. Many people choose flowers only by appearance. They look for the biggest blooms and the brightest colors. But the freshest flowers are not always the ones that look the most open. Flowers that are slightly closed often last longer because they still have time to bloom at home. Look for firm stems, healthy leaves, and petals without brown edges or soft spots. Avoid flowers that are already dropping petals or showing signs of dehydration. A few seconds of careful selection at the store can save many days of disappointment later. Another small but powerful trick is preparing the water before placing flowers inside. Do not use extremely hot or extremely cold water. Water that is too warm can encourage bacteria growth, while very cold water may shock delicate flowers. Room temperature water is usually a safe choice for most cut flowers. Some flowers, however, have specific preferences, so it is always helpful to know the type of flower you are caring for. Roses, tulips, lilies, carnations, and many other popular flowers can respond differently to care methods. But the basic principles remain the same. Clean water, clean stems, proper trimming, a suitable location, and regular attention. The truth is, keeping flowers fresh does not require expensive products. Many of the most effective habits cost almost nothing. The old methods worked because they focused on understanding what flowers actually need. They did not rely on complicated formulas. They simply protected the flowers from the things that make them age faster. And perhaps the most important lesson is this. Flowers are not decorations that simply sit in a vase. They are living parts of nature that continue changing even after they are cut. When you give them the right conditions, they reward you with more color, more fragrance, and more days of beauty in your home. Many people are surprised when they discover that the biggest difference in flower care comes from small daily habits rather than expensive products. A few minutes of attention can often do more than a costly bottle of flower food sitting on a store shelf. The old generations understood something important: taking care of simple things properly was often better than searching for complicated solutions. They cleaned, reused, observed, and adjusted. And these principles still work today. One of the easiest habits you can start immediately is checking the water level every morning. Flowers can drink more water than many people expect, especially during the first days after cutting. If the stems are left without enough water, air can enter the stem channels, making it harder for the flower to recover even after adding more water later. A quick check takes only a few seconds. If the water level has dropped, add fresh water. If the water looks cloudy or has an unusual smell, replace it completely. Another helpful habit is gently cleaning the inside of the vase when changing water. The vase may look clean from the outside, but bacteria often collect on the inner surface. A simple rinse with clean water and a gentle wipe can keep the environment much healthier for your bouquet. Now let's talk about something many people do without realizing it: touching the petals too often. Fresh flowers are delicate. The natural oils and moisture on our hands can affect sensitive petals, especially with fragile flowers. Enjoy your flowers, but avoid unnecessary handling. The less stress they experience, the longer they can maintain their beauty. There is also a useful trick when a flower bouquet starts to look tired after several days. Instead of immediately throwing it away, try refreshing it. Remove the flowers from the vase. Clean the vase completely. Trim the stems again. Fill the vase with fresh water and return the flowers. Sometimes a bouquet that looks like it is finished can recover surprisingly well with proper care. This is especially true when the problem is caused by dirty water or blocked stems rather than natural aging. Another traditional method is arranging flowers in smaller groups. If some flowers are starting to fade while others are still fresh, separate them. A smaller arrangement with the healthiest flowers can continue looking beautiful. You do not always need the original bouquet to keep enjoying fresh flowers. Creativity and simple care can extend their usefulness. Many people also wonder about adding household ingredients to flower water. Over the years, people have tried many different combinations. Some methods became popular because they were simple and available. However, the main reason flowers last longer is usually not one magical ingredient. The biggest factors are preventing bacteria, improving water absorption, and slowing dehydration. This is why proper preparation matters so much. A perfect homemade solution cannot save flowers that were already damaged, placed in dirty water, or exposed to heat for days. Good care starts from the beginning. Another thing worth remembering is that every flower has its own natural lifespan. Even with excellent care, cut flowers will eventually fade. The goal is not to keep them forever. The goal is to enjoy their beauty for as long as possible. A bouquet is a temporary gift from nature. Its value comes from the moments it creates: a brighter room, a thoughtful gesture, a memory connected to a special day. Taking care of flowers is also a small daily ritual. It gives you a reason to slow down and notice simple beauty around you. And perhaps that is why these old tricks have survived for generations. They are not only about flowers. They are about caring for something delicate with patience and attention. So, if you want your next bouquet to last longer, remember the simple routine. Start with fresh flowers. Trim the stems at an angle. Remove leaves below the waterline. Use a clean vase. Change the water regularly. Keep flowers away from heat, direct sunlight, and fruit. Check them every day and remove anything that is already fading. These steps cost very little, but they can make a noticeable difference. Before buying expensive products, try improving the basics. Often, the simplest solutions are the ones that have been working for generations. But there is one more thing that many people forget when caring for fresh flowers. The way you treat flowers in the first few hours after bringing them home can determine how long they will stay beautiful. Think about it like this: a flower bouquet has already gone through a lot before it reaches your vase. It was cut, transported, stored, and moved from one environment to another. This transition is stressful for the flowers. That is why giving them time to adjust can make a big difference. When you first bring flowers home, do not immediately place them near a window, in a warm room, or next to decorations that produce heat. Give them a calm environment. Prepare the vase properly, refresh the stems, and allow the flowers to slowly settle into their new conditions. This simple approach follows the same idea gardeners use with plants: avoid unnecessary stress and create the right environment. Another forgotten secret is not overcrowding your vase. A large, full bouquet may look impressive, but flowers also need space. When too many stems are pressed tightly together, air cannot move freely between them. Moisture stays trapped around leaves and petals, creating conditions where flowers can deteriorate faster. Sometimes separating a large bouquet into two smaller arrangements is actually better. You can place one arrangement in the living room and another in the kitchen or bedroom. Instead of enjoying one bouquet for a short time, you can spread the beauty throughout your home. There is also a reason why people in the past often changed the arrangement of flowers after several days. As flowers develop, their shape and position change. A bouquet that looked perfect on the first day may need a small adjustment later. Removing a few shorter stems, rearranging the flowers, or placing them in a different vase can make them look fresh again. It is not always about keeping the original arrangement exactly the same. Sometimes the best way to extend the life of flowers is to adapt as they change. Another helpful habit is paying attention to the season. Flowers purchased during their natural growing season often have better strength and freshness because they have developed under suitable conditions. Seasonal flowers can sometimes last longer and bring a more natural feeling into your home. This is one reason older generations often decorated their homes with flowers that were available locally at different times of the year. They worked with nature instead of against it. And perhaps the most valuable lesson from these old flower care methods is patience. Many people search for a quick miracle solution. They want one ingredient that will instantly transform a bouquet and keep it fresh forever. But the truth is that flowers respond best to consistent care. Fresh water every few days. Clean stems. A suitable location. Protection from heat. A little attention every day. These simple actions work together. A bouquet is not kept fresh by one single trick. It is kept fresh through a series of small decisions that protect the flower from the moment it enters your home. And this is why these old methods remain popular even today. They are affordable. They are simple. And they are based on understanding how flowers naturally behave. You do not need a cabinet full of special products to enjoy beautiful flowers. Sometimes the knowledge passed down through generations is still the most useful. The next time you receive flowers or bring home a bouquet for yourself, remember that their beauty does not have to disappear after just a few days. With the right care, you can enjoy their colors, fragrance, and elegance much longer. Because flowers are more than just decoration. They bring warmth to a room. They create memories. They make ordinary moments feel special. And when you learn how to care for them properly, you get to experience that beauty for many more days.